Hello and welcome. In this video, I will show you how to assemble the various files used in building a website in a way they can talk to each other. A website consists of many files: text content, code, style sheets, media content, and so on. When you are building a website, you need to assemble these files into a sensible structure on your local computer, and also make sure they can talk to one another and get all your content looking right before you upload it to a server. A server basically is a powerful remote hosting computer that is always on 24/7. This is where your website will live if you want the world to access your website. There is usually a charge for this hosting service. When you are working on a website locally on your computer, you should keep all the related files in a single folder. That single folder should mirror the published website's file structure on the remote server. This folder can live anywhere you like, but you should put it somewhere where you can easily find it. Maybe on your desktop, in your home folder, or at the root of your hard drive. You can also create subfolders to store images, media files, and so on. The index.html file contains the main content of the website and also connects to the subfolders. It is usually stored in the root of the project folder. So the index file does not get stored in a folder itself. It's usually in the root of the main project folder. Choose a place to store your website projects. Let's create a new folder called My Projects or similar. This is where all your website projects will live. So I've already done that. I've created a folder called My-Projects. Notice that they are all in lowercase. So the way I created this folder, you just right clicked on my desktop. I went to New and clicked on Folder and just gave the folder a name. So just do the same, right click on your desktop and just give the folder a name. So this is going to be the main project folder for all my website projects. Then inside this folder here, I'm going to create another folder that will store the content of my first website, and I've decided to call this sample site, but you can call it something more imaginative. So if I click on this now, you can see I've created another folder here. Folders are also called directories. So this is going to be the main project folder for my first sample website. So if I open up this folder here, you can see I've got other subfolders. I've got a subfolder for images. So if I have any images I want to use for my website, I will store the images inside this folder. If I've got any JavaScript I want to use, I'll store it inside this folder called script. If I've got any CSS, I'll store it inside this folder called Stylesheet. And then in the root, this is called the root. In the root, I've got the index.html file. This basically is the home page for the website. So when someone goes to your website, say for example, google.com, they'll be loading the index.html file. So this index.html file will link to these other subfolders. So any file I place inside these subfolders, I will link to them from this index.html file. So when someone calls or goes to my website address, they'll be referencing this index.html file, which also has linked these other files inside these subdirectories. It's also a good idea to name your folders and files in lowercase. You can see I've named my subdirectories in lowercase, and here also you can see my main project folder is in lowercase. This is because many web servers are case sensitive. So for example, if you have the wrong format, if I called a file, if this is in lowercase and I try and upload it to the server and change it later to uppercase or vice versa, it may not work. So you have to maintain the format. If you've specified lowercase, make sure when you are invoking or trying to call the files inside here, make sure they are specified in the same way. But it's generally a good practice to name your files and folders in lowercase with no spaces. To make the files in the individual folders talk together, we have to make sure the file path between them is correct. A file path, basically, you can see here, this is known as a file path. A file path is the location of the actual files in the directory. So this here is referred to as a file path. So when I'm linking to this index.html file, because they are all in the same directory, I don't need to give the full path. I just need to indicate the name of the folder / the file, and that will link it to the correct path. So this is the ideal way to assemble your files and subfolders that you want to use to build your website. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.